Hello, everybody. Good evening, and we're welcome once again to another episode of the SEDAT HR Digest. My name is 𝐀𝐲𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 very interesting subject matter, which is leveraging social media for employer branding. So we're going to look at the nitty-gritties of what employer branding is and how we are able to achieve a positive image using social media. And to do this, we have a fantastic resource person. As always, we have very seasoned resource people to help us with the various subject matters for each episode. And today is no exception. But before I go on to introduce our resource person for today, I want to talk about a very important event that is happening with regards to SEDAT Consult, the upcoming SEDAT HR conference, which is going to be taking place in Kumasi this year, and it's happening on the 26th of December, which is a Thursday. And the theme for this year's conference is Navigating Generational Diversity, a roadmap to organizational effectiveness. And as always, trust SEDAT Consult. We have a lineup of powerful practitioners, powerful resource people who would be featured during this conference. So you do not want to miss it. Make sure you mark it in your calendars. It is 26th of September 2024, a little over a month away, and it will be happening at the Micklin Hotel in Kumasi. So please do well to make it a point to be there. All right, so on to my guest for today. I have with me Madam 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 stranger to us at all, but I would like us to get to know her a little bit further. She's a public speaker, a brand influencer, an HR strategist, a leadership and personal development coach, German Africa startup consultant, as well as an event consultant. As an HR strategist with up to 13 years of human resource general practice, she has had experiences within several industries, including aviation, oil and gas, academia, media, wellness, fashion, medical laboratory, supply chain, and manufacturing. Remember, I told you our guests are always very well seasoned. She's the founder and CEO of ICS Africa Limited, Impact Concepts and Solutions. That's what it means. And it is a budding Pan-African company that provides management consulting, personal and professional development, marketing and communications, as well as corporate event engineering and management services. She's also the founder and lead blogger of a digital platform called the Fearless and Fabulous Network, where she inspires women in leadership, faith, love, and career, personal growth, as well as promote exceptional women globally. Additionally, she is the director of West Africa Female Leaders and Entrepreneurs Network, an African community of female leaders in business. I could go on and on and on, but I think I will end it here and then we'll dive straight into our conversation. So I'll welcome Emmeline now. Welcome, Emmeline.
Hi. Thank you, Ophelia.
I was going on and on, but I realized I won't finish now.
I understand. Good
It's
afternoon
so
to you
good.
and your
It's
cherished
so good to have you.
viewers.
Say that
Thank
again.
you. Good to be here. I said good afternoon to your cherished viewers, and it's good to be here again.
Yes, it's good to have you again. It's good to have you again. And I'm quite happy, excited about the topic on hand because we are in that era. And so it's time companies really get on board and get with the program of leveraging on social media for their own sake because it makes life a whole lot
Absolutely.
easier. So,
Absolutely.
right, let's dig right into it. So we've heard of employer branding. Maybe someone hasn't heard, but I want to believe a lot of people have heard. However, the situation is, let's go into what employer branding is so that we can start off from there.
Okay. Oh, you've asked the question, right?
Yes, please.
Okay. So thank you so much for the opportunity to be here. And this is one topic that is very dear to my heart. Um, it's something I discovered way back in 2011, and
Mm-hmm.
I have lived my life on social media for so long. That is the reason why I'm very, very passionate about, the topic social media for employer branding. First of all, social media is a separate concept from employer branding. Social media is basically your online platforms that you use to, develop an online presence, showcasing what you want your target audience should know about you for the purpose of either commercialization, exchange of money, or for recruiting talent in the aspect of, human resources. So when we talk about employer branding basically is a value, a promise of value you give to your target audience. So if I buy a Louis Vuitton bag or a Louis Vuitton shoe, there's a certain expectation I have of that shoe and the bag that has the brand Louis Vuitton. And Louis Vuitton represents what? High class, right?
Yeah.
Prestige, money, wealth, and all that. So think about your company. What rings a bell when we hear the name of your company? Now, there are different types of talent. So every company led by the HR must first of all determine the kind of employees they want. You need to determine their competency framework, meaning what kind of competencies are required to succeed in such a company. Understanding that whatever competencies model you develop must connect with the business strategy, right? Knowing that, it means you can't hire everyone. Not everybody that sends in a CV is your caliber. What exactly are you looking for in an employee? Now, those people you are targeting also have what they're looking for in a company. So, what reputation and what value do you have as a company to attract those kind of employees you're looking for? So, employer branding is simply a company's reputation as an employer and the value it brings or what it offers to employees. Knowing that positive employer branding will help you to attract and retain quality employees who are crucial to the success and growth of your business. So in entirety, that is the concept of employer branding.
Great. I like how we started. So based on what you've just said, my next question would be that what would be the essential components for a positive or a strong employer brand? Maybe you could actually use both positive and strong employer brand. What are the things that are not negotiable in building a strong employer brand?
Oh, good question. Huh. If your company is not part of your top companies list in your country, at least in your country, you don't need to go global. Locally, if your company is part of the most desired companies to work for or a great place to work, you are in trouble.
Hmm.
Okay? You must obtain public recognition. It's very important. And then your employees must always share stories. I mean, if your employees go out and are complaining about your company, I mean, you don't provide proper work environment, leadership is poor, no room for growth and development, salary is so appalling, and there is nothing to, maybe buffer the fact that you can't pay, but no intangible benefits. Your staff always falls sick, stress. Hey, I'm sorry, you've killed your brand. you know, if the employee
Right.
experience is not J in the word of Ghanaians, right?
Mm-hmm.
If it is not up to standard, they won't be telling positive stories about you. I
Right.
believe in the concept under social media for HR, we call social HR, where your employees are your ambassadors. Now, I've seen companies spend so much money on influencers who do not work for the company. And it's sad that we can give so much money to influencers, and the people who are doing the work for an influencer to say, I want to be part of your brand, you don't even pay them well. You don't compensate them well. More often than not, we have what I call misplaced priorities. Do you understand?
Hmm.
So if your employees
Right.
are not telling good stories about you, they must proactively on their own tell good stories about where they work, right? And
Right.
obviously, you must have a good culture. culture of sharing, that's teamwork and continuous improvement. A employees don't want to work with a company that is always
Hmm.
behind. You get no. They don't want to work with you. Okay. And
Right.
obviously, you must be proactive in making potential candidates know your best practice. If you go to certain companies and their websites, you go to their philosophy, value, their mission, their vision. Oh my God, so empowering. You're like, oh my God, I want to work here. HR managers should remember that every ACE employee has a personal mission and vision. So if their mission and vision does not tally with yours, you're not going to get them. So
Hmm.
you must make the effort. Same way your marketing manager will want to ensure that the customers want to patronize your company. Is the same way you also want what your what's it called? HR, potential HR sorry, let me put this on silent. You want your potential employees to also want to work for you. It's as simple as that. Now, the generation of workers we have, they want more technology-based work, remote work, or hybrid work. And I still see some companies struggling to meet that trend. And I can understand because our internet system here is not so good, so I can understand. But there has to be a balance of both. Okay. Best practice where you are legally compliant, you have a lot of strategies for employee engagement. Employee engagement is on point. You take proper care of your staff. Their needs are not negotiable. You encourage them to voice out. There's open door policy. Culture is amazing for growth and social relationships at work. I mean, that brand there, wonderful brand. And obviously, you must be a company that is a benchmark for others. I mean, if your company is not mentioned as Charlie, these are the top companies we are talking about that are making an impact. Sorry. And if your company is not positioned to change the lives of their people and their families, it's one thing we're not particular about in this part of the world. Listen, in the Western world, where we like to copy and paste from, we need to copy that one from them. They tell you
You
that
forget that
the
one.
oh, yes. The company must prosper not just for the employees, but for the employees' families. So your company must not just be, yeah, I'm paying you salary. You don't even care if the salary is enough or not. I'm paying you salary. Okay, sack everybody and do the work. Sack everybody and work alone. It's not possible. So if you want to be a leader, a leading leader, your company must be positioned for the wealth and happiness of your employees. When I say wealth, I'm not talking about lots of money. Wealth is provision of what resources, right? Wealth is indication of what poverty. So your people are not stranded. They're not in a situation where mentally they cannot think because of financial problems. Train your people how to be financially compliant. Some of your people are living beyond their means. Even if you're doing so well with paying them well enough, are you training them on how to manage their home? Are you providing employer assistance programs for them to teach them how to manage work and life for a balanced life, or a life that is fit for their career? Very important. And also, you have a good balance between leadership and high productivity. Leadership is on point. Obviously, it affects productivity. And finally, ensure you are always measuring your branding efforts through relevant metrics. Whatever you don't get measured, it won't get done. Thank you.
Course, whatever doesn't get measured, you will not get it done. So I like the submission so far. You've actually touched on quite a number of areas that are I've earmarked for us to talk about. I feel like jumping to one of them. You mentioned employee advocacy. You mentioned culture. You mentioned metrics. And then you mentioned one other thing. For some reason, I didn't capture that. But let's talk employee advocacy. It's meant to come on later on, but I'll just go straight into it. How important is employee advocacy? And I am
Hmm.
asking this mainly because a lot of people don't realize little things we do They think it doesn't affect the employer brand, but it does. So let's look at it in a two-pronged way. Number one, what is employee advocacy? How does it impact the brand? In what way, positively or negatively? And how does the employer brand impact the employee?
Okay,
Did you
that's
get
a
my
new. I've
point?
never heard the word before. Employer advocacy. I know what advocacy is. I am an advocate for anything that would, impact lives. But let me
Mhm,
just use a layman's terms to describe employer advocacy. So basically, fighting for the rights of employees, right?
mhm,
Doing exactly what will favor your employees, what will make your employees happy on the job, engaged on the job. Make them focus on the goals and objectives of the company. That is advocacy, ensuring the health and safety, psychological safety, physical and mental safety of your employees. That is what I would say is advocacy. And I know that it is one challenge that HR practitioners have because HR looks like they are too soft when they are fighting for employees' rights and obligations. But what I would say is that if an HR person does not focus on employees, management will fail. That is what leaders need to understand. When you attack an HR person who is doing a good job, putting measures in place to ensure your employees are aligned, you are going to lose, you're going to fail. And HR's responsibility is to ensure that whoever you hire, your human capital assets, are well positioned for the job. So if you have a good culture, a great team, management wins. But management, I've noticed, we have this slavery mentality, which is still in us. We want to put people in undue condition and still get the best. How do you do the same old things to get new results, Ophelia? How? Not possible.
impossible.
Management should rather be advocating with HR, who is part of management, to make sure employees are not distracted, but are very much focused on
Mhm.
achieving the goals and objectives of the company. That is how you build a strong employer brand as well.
Right, right. And quite so there's the flip side of it is on the side of the employees as well. I always feel the life in corporate is a two-way street. You meet me halfway, I meet you halfway. Correct me if I'm wrong. The employer has a responsibility, the employee has a
Yes,
responsibility.
yes.
However, I have in too many times than I care to be found or witnessed situations where employees feel they don't have any impact on the companies they work for.
Hmm.
So I think it might have been actually a slip of tongue. What I actually meant to us was employee branding, not even employer branding. But it's good you also picked that up. So in the subject of employer branding, for instance, some employees feel it doesn't concern me. Mine is to come to work and go away. To what extent does comments, sentiments, opinions, to what extent does that from the employee perspective impact the employer brand?
If your employees are complaining, there's a problem with your brand.
Mm,
If your brand is attracting employees with a certain attitude, then there still is it comes back to you that your brand is a problem.
right.
Your company's recruitment system should be checked.
Mm,
Set up employer brand and ensure your recruitment practices are in line with the employer brand. So,
mm,
except maybe you were doing something good and then you decided to stop, and employees are now complaining, then that's a different matter. Whatever the case is, it still comes back to the fact that your employer brand has a problem. So, you
yeah.
see, you cannot put the blame on employees you have permitted,
Mm-hmm.
whether you hire the wrong people, that they don't fit your culture, or you hire the right people and you're not treating them when they're complaining.
Right.
Never think that an employee complaining is a bad thing. It's like saying that customers' complaints are bad. It's the same thing with employees are also your customers, right? If
Right.
employees complain, find out why. The three W's are important: the who, the what, and the why. Find out that focus on those three. When you get your answers, act accordingly.
Okay. So there's this question. As we keep talking about employer branding, I'm curious to know who the onus lies upon in terms of ownership of employer branding? Is it an
Yeah.
HR concern? Is it, since you're talking branding, is it marketing that owns it? Is it operations because it has to do with the employer? Or is it finance because branding, then you have to pay for something? Or is it the CEO because they are the head? Who actually owns the responsibility of employer branding?
So employer branding is a competency for the HR manager or the HR leader. Employer branding is what we call HR marketing. So
Okay.
once it's HR, nobody else but HR person is responsible. But HR works hand in hand with the head of marketing, because the brand propositions, the brand values must tally with employees. And then obviously working with corporate the executive management to approve whatever the HR metrics for the employer branding will be. So the HR person ultimately has the responsibility.
All right. Okay, well said. Before I go on to my next question, I'd like to encourage listeners, if you're just joining us, this is the HR Digest by SEDAT Consult, and today we are talking about employer branding and how we can leverage social media for that purpose. And so I would like to have you submit your questions so that we can ask Emaline, our resource person for today. All right, so moving on. When we talk of social media, there are options. First of all, when social media started, we had Facebook, and then what came next? I
No, it
think
started with a high five.
oh,
It started
oh
with high
wow,
five, and then
wow,
Skype.
yes,
High five
wow,
and then Skype. Aha, then Facebook came.
right. I have totally forgotten about high five.
I know,
Yes,
I know.
so high five, Skype still doesn't seem to be catching up with it, but it's still there somehow.
Nah,
But
Skype has
then
been taken. I mean, they are there, but they are very redundant.
yeah, they've been kicked off. So now we have, tell me, we have Zoom.
Yeah, we
No,
have
we,
Facebook, we
we
have
have Facebook, we have
Instagram,
Instagram,
Twitter,
we have
LinkedIn,
LinkedIn,
TikTok.
TikTok, name them. It's such a broad spectrum. So,
Mm-hmm.
how does a company determine or decide which of these various options will serve them better in the context of employer branding? Because I want to believe one size doesn't fit all. And even if you want to be present on all of them, you can't do it overnight. So, how does a company pick and choose? What are the things that would help them to pick which one to go with in their pursuit to give their organization a good brand?
So, first of all, the HR practitioner must be well versed with social media.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, many of us are not, right? I personally, I am into social media. I manage all my accounts on all 5 platforms. I'm on all of them. The only one I'm not
Okay.
enjoying is Threads. I'm not in the mood to download Threads yet, right? For Threads by Instagram.
Mm,
So I know that LinkedIn is a professional platform. There is a
mhm,
no-brainer. You must have a company account on that platform. All your employees must be registered on LinkedIn. They must like and follow your company page. The HR practitioner must ensure that happens. And then Facebook is every human being, every kind of person is there. So the professionals that love to have a social life beyond work life will find themselves on Facebook as well. Okay. Because Facebook also has what we call business account. So your company must have a Facebook business account. Very important. And then because you'll be hiring the Gen Zs and the Gen Alphas and the betas and deltas, you have to have presence on Twitter and Instagram. Okay, very
and now
important you do
TikTok.
that. Hey, very important. TikTok is now TikTok. I don't know what happened though. That's taking over, and the wisdom I
Yeah.
have with all of these platforms is that they've learned how to connect. Nobody
Mm,
is saying like, I want to be the big. No, they're like they're collaborating on a level that is amazing. So you better, as an HR person, have accounts on all of these pages and use these pages for commercial HR purposes.
mm.
All right. Do your live streams, do your Zoom conferences and stream through them. You have to also be on YouTube. Okay. Stream
Okay.
content that people and then talk about, work related stuff and other related things that may not be work, but impact career. All right.
Mm,
So it's
okay.
very important that as an HR person from time to time, get into Facebook through Zoom or StreamYard or get into YouTube or Instagram Live and talk about work-related issues, balancing career and life, managing your employment with an employer, your rights as an employee, how to grow on the job, how to lead, how to be a team lead, how to be a team player. But we don't do that. I think HR practitioners don't like being on social media, apart from Patricia, yourself, myself, Cynthia, and a few, Rita Kissid, fantastic. The rest of us don't want to be on social media. And I'm like wondering, what are you doing in your offices? Why are you sitting down behind your desk? What are you doing? Get out there, show yourself, show concern for the employment, give advice, and the thought leadership crown. Gen Zs want to be with you. Proper employees want to be with you.
Yeah, and I echo your last bit, because oftentimes I don't have time, and we don't have time for entertainment. It is being perceived as only for entertainment. I think a lot of people haven't seen the true benefits, and you would think that should not be the case, especially after COVID, that people will see that, oh my goodness, there's a wealth of knowledge out there, so much to leverage on.
But tell you,
unfortunately, that hasn't been the case. And in fact, you even mentioned MySpace, or you mentioned StreamYard, you mentioned even some other tools that are not even considered social media, but they are. And
Zoom. They are all social media. Yeah, Zoom, Google Meet, Microsoft Teams. Yeah, they're all, because you see, it's connecting socially. Some companies even have their own social media platform, like Newmont. Newmont has their own social media platform for only staff.
Yes.
And these are things that companies must have. If you can't afford it, LinkedIn is there. Through your company platform, you can do it on LinkedIn.
Right. There's this other app, DingTalk, which is more from an Asian side, and it functions as WhatsApp. But imagine maybe a Pro Max of WhatsApp. You can send documents. You can edit documents on there. It's fantastic.
Wow.
There's so many tools.
Please, you need to send me that information. I need it.
You need to. There's so much out there that we really need to leverage on.
Absolutely.
So now that takes me to, let's assume, so a company has taken up, they've decided we want to do XYZ of the social media options. Now, what are we going to post? What are we going to put out there? We have made a decision. I want to do social media employer branding. Is that the right way to capture it? But now, what do we put out there? Now, in terms of what we put out there, let me ask that. There are two questions that I'm going to fuse as one. Content. How do we go about deciding what to put out there in order to resonate positively to the brand? And then, what are rules of thumb, if there are, in terms of content creation to help us look authentic and also drive organic engagement?
That question is too pregnant. Break it down for me.
Okay. The first part is content creation. What do we put out there? That we've decided we are doing social media as a company. What kind of content, what considerations should we factor in determining the kind of content we put out there? That's the first part. So let's do that.
Okay. So let's do that. So first of all, content creation is meeting a need. You're not creating content for yourself, but you're creating content that resonates with your target audience. As simple as that. So ensure that you adapt content that your followers are concerned about. Ensure that you provide content that gives real value. So I'll give an example. For HR purposes, whatever you're posting is concerning the company's corporate lifestyle and its employees. So if you look at many companies that are online, you see the kind of content they churn out. Holidays, they are in there, and some notable days like World International HR Day, Labor Day, and all that. You're connecting with what is concerning or what concerns your followers. World Mental Health Day, and then you do Zoom programs. So we've left all of these things for organizations that are maybe into events, or maybe they are into HR consulting. But as a company, you can also do your own. Nothing stops you as an HR manager adding that to you maybe once a month. and saying that today we're going to and connect it to how your company does this practice. It's like marketing yourself indirectly. You understand?
Right.
So employees that are so in demand look out for certain things, and using these platforms a very good example for you to even engage them. There's even this Twitter space, right?
Hmm.
Engage them, invite the young
Right.
ones from the university, their chassis and the Legons and the UPSs and the techs, and engage them, prepare them as a pool for your future.
Mm-hmm.
So content that also, you can even do a poll and find out what kind of content would they like to see on your page. These
Yeah.
are things that you can also do to also be relevant to them context wise.
Hmm. I know there's a number of companies that are taking advantage of that. I know of a particular bank. I'm not here to do adverts, so I won't mention name. But there's a particular bank that is really leveraging on that in Ghana. They do, number one, they're targeting younger people, so they do a lot of tech-based online whatever conferencing and all of that. And I think it's a fantastic way to also generate content for the brand.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah. And so still on the content, my other question was on where do we draw the lines in terms of what are the rules of thumb? So you establish that it is meeting a need, but what are the rules of thumb to look out for in terms of content generation? Number one, we're looking for authenticity, and then we're also looking to drive organic engagement, not the bot ones. So what are those things that we need to take into consideration?
So if you want to attract, or you want to be authentic, you want to be relevant, develop a goal. So one of the things we don't do is, like, you're handling a project. Every project has a goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
And objectives. Treat this as such.
Okay.
Then determine what metrics will be needed to ensure that you are authentic and that you are relevant. Because what is relevant for company A, trust me, may not be relevant for company B.
Yeah.
So you speak with your marketing manager or commercial manager or director, understand what values drive the company. Usually the value of the organization is what you will tap into. If it's leadership, teamwork, authenticity, collaboration, leadership, fun, whatever it is, then all your content must drive through. And then to be authentic, unfortunately for us, we are dealing with human beings. You must live by example. Hey, lip
Right.
service, it will kill your brand. You go and state that you are this, you are that, and then when we enter, totally the opposite. I'm sorry. I am very, very, very sorry. So, in fact, that one will kill everything on arrival.
Wow. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Forgive me, I have a little girl here who has decided to just distract me. Yeah. So you need to be very sure. Authenticity is not your friend is what's the word? You're not trying to be something well on social media, and when we hire you, hey, you come and post, say, oh, you are into employer branding, then you hire people. They will come back and say it's a lie. And that
Yeah.
is,
Yeah.
you are done for. So I beg us, let us set
And
our
it will
goals well,
travel very
and
fast.
be consistent with our goals. That is the only way we can be authentic.
Right.
Please.
Right. Consistency. Walk the talk, basically.
Wow, walk the
Yeah.
talk, or if not, trouble.
All right. So if you're just joining us, this is SEDAT HR Digest, and our topic for today is employer branding and how to leverage social media for employer branding. And it's been an interesting conversation so far, and I'm looking forward to seeing your questions. I hope you are following through. Just before I continue, I would like us to take note of the upcoming event with SEDAT. SEDAT Consult, which is the HR conference coming up on the 26th of September at the 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨 Hotel in Kumasi. This year we're going back to Kumasi, and we have a very tight lineup of seasoned HR professionals who are going to wow us. The theme for this year's conference is Navigating Generational Diversity, a Roadmap to Organizational Effectiveness. So you'd want to quickly give us a call or go to the website SEDATconsult.com and book a slot. Please do make a date with us on the 26th of September 2024 at the 𝐀𝐝𝐦𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐨 Hotel. If you would like to sponsor you can reach us out on sponsorship at hrconference.sedatconsultlimited.com, or you can call us on 024 462 9245, 024 462 9245, or 059 140 5555. All right. So the next thing I'd like to talk about also is our magazine. You know by now that SEDAT Consult has launched a magazine, and the first edition is out. It's a beautiful magazine, and so I would like to encourage all of you to grab a copy. It is free, people. It is free. However, if you have, not if you have, we are all working somewhere. So I'd like to encourage us, especially the HR practitioners, to get to the CEOs and all the powers that be in our organizations to grab an advertising slot for the magazine for the next edition. So for that, you can also reach out to the same number I mentioned, and you can make your inquiries from there regarding how to get a slot for advertisement in the SEDAT HR Digest magazine. All right, so let's move on to our conversation. So I already asked about the employee advocacy. Then when it comes to, in IT now, we're in the era of AI, and we've gone on and on about having several discussions on AI. And one thing that keeps coming up across the board in any profession, it's about ethics. For everything that is good, people will tend to abuse it. And so what role does ethics play in terms of leveraging on social media for an employer brand? How does it even matter? Does it matter in this conversation, the subject of ethics? Are there guidelines? Are there risks? Are there consequences? And how does a company avoid getting into ethical issues so that they do not harm their brand on social media?
Ophelia, this question you've asked a very important question. Very, very important question. So ethics, we're talking about, the permissible actions, the guidelines that, guide your behavior, whether you're dealing with people's information or when you're giving out information. Listen, you can't joke with ethics and etiquette when you have social media. First of all, have a social media policy. Have a social media policy and ensure that you engage your team, orient them, let them imbibe those ethics in them. Okay, they must know the policy of social, because like I said, your employees are your ambassadors. Their behavior after 5 and before 5 impacts your brand greatly. Remember the Atlantic Bank situation? Do you remember the Atlantic Bank problem? The manager and the national service lady. It was a private matter, was it not? It was consensual.
Right.
But the moment the brand of the name was mentioned in the matter, that's where there was problem.
Yeah.
You see, You see, more often than not, people who share bad news will not mention Ophelia or Emmeline. They want to mention the company.
Right.
Because the company behind you is big. It's to make news. But if you were as, popular, they will mention your name because it's heavy and mention your company name to be heavy. So it will hurt the brand of the company. Fine, you're an adult, you do whatever you want. But how do the people who you are providing service to feel about it? Remember the Morocco story? Excuse me. The Morocco issue, remember?
Yes.
Look at it.
Yes.
For some time, people didn't even go and eat in the restaurant. So they lost a lot of money during that period.
Yeah.
Whether
Yeah.
or not the guy was arrested or not, they had an impact on their finances. I'm not sure they
Yeah.
want to keep having financial impact like that all the time, even if they might not end up in jail because they are linked or whatever. But they will lose money. Do you
Significant one.
understand?
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
there are many things that are very private to you. There was an issue with Sewa of GH1. That one too was a very
Very
highly
recent.
debatable issue. Very whether people were like it's nobody's business, nobody is perfect, but there were others who were like disappointed. The EIB had nothing to do with her life, but they all claimed that we're disappointed at the brand. The moment your brand is mentioned with an employee, whether it is right or wrong, it has an impact. So
Yeah.
we need to leave. And Sewa, being intelligent, had to apologize because she saw the impact of the trolls on her, even her family. Were
Right.
even
Yeah.
impacted on. I mean, somebody will insult your mother for free. Okay, why? Ophelia, for what? But I tell
K
people this
bullets.
God, when you are in a public domain, you are judged by the public standards.
Yeah. Yeah.
Unfortunately, the public is not perfect. Too. They are the crucifiers and they are the healers. They will cheer you on, and tomorrow they will crucify you.
Yeah.
So we need to be very circumspect in our behavior. We need to be very careful, as
Mm.
much as it's your private life, but that you work for a company that's in the public domain. It's not a private company. Then we need to be very careful. So ethics, you have to be. Some things are not illegal. Oh. What happened with the Atlantic branch manager and the lady? Is it illegal? It's not illegal. She's an adult. She's 18, right?
Yeah.
But it bordered on ethics.
Yeah.
You understand me?
Mm-hmm.
Aha. It was the
Mm-hmm.
Morocco issue that was illegal,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
But the issue of
Either
Sewa
ways.
and the Atlantic is not illegal.
It's not illegal.
They
But
all
either
bordered on
ways.
ethics. Yeah. But the impact of it could be detrimental. So let's all
Great.
be very careful. Mhm.
Right. And what you said drew my mind back to something I learned, which back at the time I was like, okay, there's this person who works with corporate bodies. I'm not sure the exact um, title for such a job, but they sort of craft the whole brand message. And the person went as far as picking out their logo, picking out the design of their Friday wear, and then including how you can even use the vehicles. The vehicles cannot be seen parked in certain places. All that was specified. And I was like, okay. And I was like, yeah,
You
the
thought we were
vehicles
doing too
cannot
known.
come again.
You thought we were doing too known, eh?
Yes. And so you can't be, their vehicles can't be seen at a certain time of the night, even if you are using it, I mean, to go home and come back. It cannot be seen at certain times of the day. I
Mm.
was like, wow, I've never considered it that way. But now it begins to resonate later that wow, that person was thinking ahead.
That is
Really.
the
They
word.
really were thinking ahead. And people thought they were being too much, but you begin to appreciate these things with all these events that are happening. Great.
Absolutely.
So I have a comment from Jabulani. Hello, Jabulani. He says, what we stand for, external communication should allow for target audience feedback since our branding is to our external targets.
True. Very true.
Interesting. Thank you so
Very
much,
right.
Jabulani. And like Jabulani, I want to see more of these interactions. So please keep them coming and also ask your questions so that we can contribute to a livelier conversation. Okay, so my next question really HR practitioners, because we've established that employer branding sits with HR. We've established that. In what ways can we as HR practitioners ensure that the organizations we work with, when it comes to our branding, our employer branding efforts on social media, how do we bring them along? on this journey or on this project to ensure it has a lasting impact. Because at the end of the day, employer branding impacts candidate attraction and it impacts retention as well. So, how do you bring them along, and how do we begin to explain how this ties into the bottom line at the end of the day and the organization's long term goals? Have I
So
confused you?
to get the the buy-in of employees to ensure that they also, are aligned with the employer branding objectives and goals, you must have a reward system.
Right.
Merely tell an employee that you need to project yourself in a certain way is not enough. One of the things that one of the West does is that they like to incentivize a lot. They can incentivize so much that even if they are doing training for you, they are even paying your TNT to come. So you don't have excuse.
Mm,
It's an
mm,
example. They
yeah.
try to make things less inconvenient for the better
Mm-hmm.
good. That is their mindset. Africa, we are like, if you like, don't come. So happy to you. you know, but you have to risk it to get the biscuits. It's simple.
I
When
like
we say
that.
reward employees, you are not giving them money per se. So for this month of July, our top 5 employer branding stars are they put on the wall, put on social media. This is what I'm talking about. When you keep everybody will be fighting, hey, this I must remain on this list forever as long as I'm in this company. You see, there's a healthy competition and everybody's behavior. You see that thing? Then when you see a lot of them are doing well, then you look at, oh, okay, the emerging ones, oh, the ones that are making efforts, oh, the most improved employee. Just like want to, is that difficult, Ophelia?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a carrot and horse situation. That is what it is. Then,
Yeah.
as long as there's a carrot in front of the donkey, that donkey will keep running.
Right.
Donkeys are
Right.
very stubborn, very stubborn. But if you want them to do anything, give them a carrot. It's as simple as that. And human beings have emotions. It's like in a relationship, the man must do certain things to make the woman motivated to remain an awesome wife. If not, she'll
Right.
be a wife that's mechanic like a robot. I mean, we're human beings, are we robots? And a woman
Yeah.
too has to do certain things to make the man feel so proud to be a husband. If not, he would listen when you do things of duty. It's not fulfilling. I don't believe I should respect my boss out of duty. I should respect my boss out of admiration.
Admiration. Yeah.
He was a proper leader.
Right.
I connect with my leader. It's the same way you want to get employees to do something. What do you have to do to make the employees conditioned in a certain behavior that you want? You get what I'm
Hmm.
saying? So please
Yeah.
encourage employee behavior by rewarding them accordingly. Then achieving of the goals there, you don't have a problem. There are companies you go to and you can see that this is the company they work for. Everybody from the security to the manager behave the same way. Why? They're doing something right in the company. So have everything boils down to your policy, strategy and policy. If you don't have an employer brand strategy and there's no policy to align you, I can't. What I'm telling you are all generic guidelines, but the main work is in developing the strategy that suits your company and then the policy that will help you to drive that project.
Do you think this subject we talk about it enough? I mean, I'm just asking this off the cuff because some of the solutions you've mentioned, this reward is sometimes the way HR has to fight. It's almost as
Oh,
if you have something personal to gain when you are
you
bringing the.
know, that is what is
It's
paying for
like,
Ophelia. And it's meanwhile, it's all for the company. Oh.
and you're like, please, the things I'm saying, just let finance run the numbers and see if we will not get. Look, anyway,
That is why I said we don't want to risk it, but want the biscuits. How?
mm,
You don't want to bake, you don't want to go through the fire, but you want the biscuits from the you drop from
yeah,
the sky. You have
no,
to
no,
go
no,
through the
no,
process. And everything is not about money.
no. Mm-mm.
Mentions. 𝐀𝐝𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐢𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬𝐬 things big, creative.
It's the little things. It's the little
That count, my
things.
sister. In every kind of relationship, even children and parents relationship, it's the little things that count.
Yeah.
So let's
Yeah.
not treat employee-employer relationship like slave master relationship. It's not going to help anybody. So employer branding is a concept that many companies don't care about. It is
Mm-mm.
only the multinationals that have a certain global policy that it applies to. But indigenous companies in Ghana, they don't care. And that is why the top employees always want when I'm recruiting, the first question they ask me is, it a multinational? They
I
don't want
know,
to
I
work with
know,
a
I
Ghanaian
know
man's
that.
company. They don't want to work with a Ghanaian man's company. They're not interested because a Ghanaian will not treat his own well. But you
But
expect a
that's
white man
sad,
to treat
isn't
you
it?
well. Why should you be like that? But let a Ghanaian hire a white man. You treat him like an angel, like he's a god. It is wrong.
Hmm.
Let's be equitable in our approach to HR. HR is, listen, when your human resources are qualified and they are satisfied on the job, you really have time. You wanna, as a CEO, you should be coming to the office and seeing everything done, done.
Mm-hmm.
Whether
Mm-hmm.
you come to work or not, you are achieving your go for board meeting, you are coming out smiling. Why don't we
Mm-hmm.
want that kind? But we want to stress. And I notice CEOs enjoy complaining, they enjoy querying, they enjoy disciplining people. And I think that we're not happy people. Let me say this. For you to have a strong employer brand, if you're not a happy person, it will never happen.
Oh no.
If you are a negative human being, you don't love people, you can never have a good you won't care about employer branding. You won't care. So
No.
you're as a human being, you need to be a good person. I would dare
Yeah.
say even godly, if you have that inspiration to help you. Because when you
Yeah.
value people, you will value your business. People that value people value
Absolutely.
their business. But Africans don't value people. That is our
Hmm.
problem. So there's a handful of people who are extraordinary leaders in Africa, and I salute all of them. I doff my hat for all of them, and I cheer
Yeah.
them on to continue. And those of us who are not there yet, please work on yourself. Many leaders need to have coaching, but they don't have coaching. They don't go for
Hmm.
coaching. They don't have mentors. They don't learn. All they know is that they want money to spend and make their people happy, and we blame politicians. Is it not the same thing?
The politicians are a
Using
reflection
people
of
for your
us.
benefit. It, like they say, every one of us is a politician. Let us be human beings. Let's put the human in the HR, please. We beg.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. You're preaching. You're preaching.
Honestly.
Hmm. I mean, this subject we can never really exhaust it because
Oh
it's
no, you can't.
unfortunately it's so sad. It's so sad that that is how things are,
Very.
but it doesn't have to be at all. It makes
It
life
doesn't have to be
unnecessarily
that
frustrating, for lack of a better word.
stressful. You know.
Yeah. Hmm. Jabulani again. I think also the content, that's external communications. That's what that is what we put out there should resonate with the internal communications of the company. That is what we do. I think that was comment came before the last one I read. Okay, so sort of
Mm,
fragmented. Okay. All right, Jabulani. But I think we got the import from the last part that I read. And then I have a comment
yeah.
here from Happy Anochi Sapong. Hello, Happy. Very interesting discussions, she says. And then Rejoice Seram says, interesting. Keep the comments coming. Keep the questions also coming through. All right, how much? We have a few minutes. Wow, time runs when you're really having a good time.
I know, right?
All right. So let me. I have a ton of questions, but I think now I'll just do one pick. Let's talk about influencers because it's something you touched on in one of your earlier
Mm-hmm.
submissions. Influencers. What role in fact, if you're going for influencers, then we are talking partnerships, really.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
partnerships and influencers, what role do these elements play in enhancing an employer brand, especially when we are talking of social media leverage? And then how can we identify the right partners to collaborate with?
Okay, so the impact. Let's talk the impact and the partners. Ideally, social media influencing is supposed to help you to expand your brand. So usually with influencers, it's not necessarily a direct impact on employer, but it's indirect. So if you have a company that you have certain brand influencers that have a certain brand position in the minds of people, it also gives employees that pride. Say, oh, I work in this company and they are using Dana Hamilton as, oh, I feel good, I feel great. So it's an indirect, because you don't need the social media influencer to for content for HR. No, nobody puts social media influencer to promote talent acquisition. Nah, we don't do that. But those influencers promote the entire brand of the company with the boost. You get it?
Yeah,
Meaning that you have to choose an influencer with a certain lifestyle and values that connect to your company. If
very
there's an
important.
influencer who likes a certain lifestyle that is very questionable and very, you know, unprofessional, there's no way you attract employees that don't like those values. You understand
Right,
me?
right.
If I own a strip club, for example, right?
Mm-hmm,
Obviously, I'm interested in very naughty people to be my influencers. You get
mm-hmm.
it? And people that want to
Yeah,
work in a strip club would love that.
yeah,
But you're not working in a strip club or in a camp a shisha joint. You get me? You're not
yeah,
what are those very interesting companies? A tattoo company.
yeah.
But you are working in an organization that believes in a certain different kind or a different kind of what professionalism that will
Mm-hmm.
not condone those things. If you go
Right.
and use an influencer that has tattoos all over his body or her body with piercings everywhere, hey sister, problem for you.
Diminishing returns.
Hey, in fact, Pro Max. So to be effective in your influencing, your marketing manager or your commercial head or director must get that right and
Yeah,
ensure that they use influencers that also carry the values company. The influencers who are good, but their kind of values do not connect with your brand. So please,
right,
there must not be a disconnect between the influencer and the company's brand values. Simple.
right, right.
So that work goes to your head of commercial. Now, the impact, the impact of influencer, I think I mentioned it. It gives
Mm-hmm.
that boost. You know, employees are proud to be associated with such a brand. Imagine you have who Elon Musk. Elon Musk is influencing your company. Boy, the only problem is that your employees will think that you have money, too much money, you're not paying them well. You know, go and use
Yeah,
people like
yeah.
Oprah,
That is
people
very
like,
notable.
oh, they'll say you have too much money, you're not spending on us wisely. Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, certain people you use for your brand, and then they'll be proud that, oh, I'm associated with this person. You are into food products. You normally use a Nash or call, you use a cookie, you know, cookie tea. But they are
Mm-hmm.
into the space of lifestyle.
Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah.
see, you are doing cars, you want to take off phones, take a stone, you take off kinata, so according,
Yeah.
you want to work according to what your taste or preferences are.
Mm-hmm.
Because more often than not, those people come for your events and then your staff, hey, we have a program, I'm going because they want to see the celebrity.
Yeah.
Yes, you see, these things work. Oh, we don't know.
You're a cool brand.
Exactly. Thank you, your brand. So these are things that the HR person needs to work with the HR and marketing person to make sure they
Mm,
grow a very solid plan for the brand. Yeah.
yeah. Yeah. And I think it goes back to what we said earlier, that as HR people, we really need to get out of that box. Because if
Please,
you're
you have
out
to
of it
be,
and you're up to
yeah,
date, you're getting the memo and you're up to, you are so cool and up to date that you know all the, even if you don't attend, you know them. You can just say it off the cuff, and
because if not, your
it gives you
employees
that
will not be able to share things
flexibility.
with you. They'll be able
Yes,
to,
it's a
confide in
it's a
you.
breath of fresh air.
Yeah,
You know.
Ophelia. I remember when I was in media, you had to, everybody must be on Twitter, everybody must be on Facebook. It was
Mm-hmm.
compulsory.
Yeah.
Because how would you understand what you are in media? You're not on social media. What's wrong with you? You don't have to be a journalist. If, so when they came, I go, everybody open your Twitter account. I'm like, now you, before I joined this camp, you know when about Twitter? I have Twitter since I was in university. We've been on this journey, share, so you can be there, you can get me. I'm there, I'm everywhere. HR practitioners must by compulsory by
You
force
really need to come up.
be on social
Yeah.
media. I don't like
Yeah.
Facebook. I don't. What do you mean by I don't like Facebook? Is your company on Facebook? I don't. If you don't want a personal account, create a business page for yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So write your Ophelia, the HR practitioner,
Mm-hmm.
Patricia, the HR strategist on Facebook. Then you won't have crappy people coming to look for your trouble. You
You can even
understand
use
me?
your initials. Nobody will have to know.
Exactly. You don't even need to use your real name.
Mm-hmm.
But if you want to grow your career, you need to use your real name for people to,
Yeah.
because we're going for jobs now. We look for your name, and if you cannot
Mm-hmm.
afford a website, Facebook,
Mm-hmm.
LinkedIn, and co are free sites. They call them mini sites or something. I can't remember.
Mm.
It's free. You don't pay for it. So
Yeah.
when you go on Google and type your full name, you see Google will bring out all your social media handles.
Yeah. Yeah.
It means
True.
that you are also somebody they can trust.
You know
Aha.
what's up.
Right. Oh yes.
Oh, there's one critical question I wanted to ask, but well, our time is already up. Maybe I can fuse it in quickly. It's about measurement, metrics, because we are in the era of measuring everything that we do, and especially in HR, so that we can easily defend our return on investment. So, very quickly, how do we measure our efforts into employer branding to see how it's impacting the brand, impacting the organization, and how does it contribute to the bottom line? What's our role in there as HR?
So we spoke about measurement. What doesn't get measured will not be done. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And so metrics enable you to ensure that your goal is not a wish, but it's actually, a plan.
Tangible, yeah.
A go- Thank you. A goal without a plan is a wish. How do you make your goal a plan? Metrics will help you.
Mm-hmm.
You have to develop and use metrics to assess or measure and track the success of your employer brand.
Right.
Social media in itself has its own metrics: level of engagement, number of participation, referrals, what cost per follower, number of followers, things like that. But when it comes to the employer brand, we have metrics like the quality of hire, how
Mm-hmm.
often people engage, your brand awareness, satisfaction of your employees. Then this one also has referrals.
Okay.
You get it?
Yeah.
How easy it is for you to get applications when you put on social media. These are sample metrics.
Mm-hmm.
But your metrics will be determined by your recruitment goals. So you have to
Okay.
have one of the things HR practitioners don't know how to do is to set goals. In fact, many of them don't know how to even set strategy, because you cannot set goals without strategy. Yeah, many HRs don't know it. They don't know about it.
Mm.
Yes, they don't know about it. So that is why employer branding will be difficult for them as well.
Okay.
And there is no school that teaches employer branding. So if you need training on all of these things, reach out to me through SEDAT HR. You get a discount and I help you. I develop you for that, because I learned it because I've been on social media for a long time. You can even go and certify with the Google Digital Media Certification so that you learn social media. Then you now integrate it into HR, which is where I come in. I don't train people on social media, but I can train you on employer branding, like in how to set strategies and goals and objectives and all of that. It's something
Right.
every HR person must be able to do. So reach out to SEDAT and we'll sort you out. Right.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This is a real life thumbs up. Absolutely. So we need to, in fact, maybe we should actually set an episode on strategies, or maybe we should let them come
But
to
that
see
one I
that.
will charge, it will be free.
No, they should come to see that. They should come to see that. So we'll sort them out nicely.
That one they have to pay because you can't do that in one day. What we can do is
Yeah.
that we can, I mean, there is the theory about it, which is,
Mm,
but you see, if you send, if there's certain things that if you don't have practical, it's gonna be, and you
it's
can't have
hard.
practical online. You don't. There has to be. You can't bring your company information on WhatsApp or Zoom or StreamYard and say
Mm,
let's learn.
mm,
It has to
mm.
be, something done in person, one even if it's online, because of confidentiality of information. 'Cause we'll be dealing with your
Right.
company and the things you do.
True.
So when I help people develop strategy, it's personal. I have to even sign an NDA, or something to protect their information I get, because I'm helping them to draft. They will send me information I'll need and then all of that. So it's a
Mm,
separate product, but the information here, the importance of strategy, what is strategy, types of strategy, and blah, blah, those can be done here live
yeah.
as
Yeah.
well. So we can have a
Yeah.
session on the problem. Yeah.
We'll look into that. We'll look into that. So it's been our time is fast spent. Um, Nana Araba Gifty from Kumasi, you're welcome. Thank you for joining. And for all who dropped in a comment or two, I really appreciate your participation. That's Happy, Rejoice, Araba, Jabulani, and I hope I didn't miss anybody. Thank you so much. Thank you for those who joined on Facebook, those who joined on LinkedIn, those who joined on YouTube. Your time is very much appreciated. And like I've been saying throughout the course of the interview, we have the SEDAT HR conference coming up on the 26th of September. Please keep this date locked. 26th September, we are all going to McLean Hotel in Kumasi for the SEDAT HR conference, and it promises to be a fantastic time. You already know the level, so you know we're not dropping the ball anytime soon or ever. So please make a date with us and register. Look on your screen and you'll be able to pick up the link so that you can register for the conference. And so that's HR Digest magazine. It is out. Finally, the secret is out. So please grab a copy. It is free. You see, Emmeline is doing the happy dance. It is absolutely
Yeah.
free. What we need you to do, though, is to speak to your CEO, speak to your MD, speak to whoever the power is in your organization to grab a slot in the magazine for advertisement. It is free for everybody, but we also need to balance it somehow. So please keep the adverts coming in and reach out to us at SEDAT Consult, and we will definitely have a conversation with you. If you are looking for the number to call, the numbers are 024 462 9245 or 059 140 5555. Call any of these numbers and you will be sorted out beautifully. So thank you all once again, and thank you so much, Emmeline. We couldn't exhaust this subject. Of course, it can never really exhaust it, but even with what we've been able to touch on, I think it's been fantastic. It's been a wealth of knowledge that we can use, and we can begin something very useful for our various brands. And so I hope you've all enjoyed it, and thank you so much for your time. We don't take it for granted at all, and you'll be
Well,
at the
well,
conference.
September. Yeah, if it's September, right?
Yeah,
September.
yeah, definitely,
Okay. God willing, I
definitely.
will be there. God
Yeah,
willing.
yeah, yeah. So we'll all be there. So we're looking forward to seeing you there. So have a
Awesome.
great week. Have
You
a great week,
too.
everybody. All
Thank
right then.
you.
Bye.
Bye.
Everybody.